All right, let's get the show on the road. Let's welcome in Coach Corey.
Okay, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's handstand class. Thanks for your patience this morning. It's always a little bit tricky because I'm trying to work out the programming for everyone. Today's going to be good because the programming is going to be a little bit more tailored towards where your skill level's at. And that also includes people who are very new to their handstand journey. I guess you could call it journey. But I'm also tailoring a few advanced positions and sequences for today. I like to always have some kind of theme around what I do. Sometimes the theme will be more of the strength foundation drills. Today we're going to look at something that is imperative to working on your handstand, which is entries, the kick up and the variations of the kick up, and how we can make that a little bit more familiar and consistent is probably the two things that we're looking to do. Because if we can make our kick up and our entries a little bit more consistent, we're conserving energy, and then we're also working towards more of those two important factors, which are time pressing, either with your body or your back to the wall, and then the neurological adaptation of balancing through your body. So, all right, we're going to warm up with air squats because it is cold, and we will be using our hips in a handstand class today. So 20 air squats, going as low as you can. For people that need to hold on to something in order to get lower, that's awesome. Matthew Harvey, hello there, sir. Welcome. Hopefully I'm broadcasting to Mandy and Sean. Big shout out to Sean. He's been present in almost every single class I've seen, which I love. I love people doing consistency. Cool, so we're going to start our air squats, going down as low as we can go. I'm going to do these 20 times. Something like I say at the start of my classes, always, make sure that you've allowed a little bit of time to warm up things that might be a little bit particular to you. So things like if you have a place to hang. So sometimes I'm teaching the class, and I try to make it accessible to everyone. Not everyone has access to some kind of hanging frame, but if you do, certainly before the class starts, get some rounds of hanging in. It's going to be very helpful for you. Get some rounds of wrist drills in, especially if you've been working on this for some time. You know how important it is, and you should be familiar with some of the exercises that we tend to go through here. Other things such as, stretching, rolling out, warming up appropriately. If you want to do a couple rounds of, skipping or whatever, if you know that you need getting your heart rate up, it's going to help your body to warm up from the morning. That's fine. Not sure what rep we're on, but let's do another 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. From here, we're going to do Russian squats. So that's where I anchor my hands on my feet or my legs at some point. Ankle is ideal. If we can't reach foot or the ankle, we can grab the shin, or we can grab the back of our calf. But ideally, we want to go down into our deep squat position, straighten our legs, and our anchor points are pulling our stomach towards our thighs. And we're going to do 20 Russian squats like this. We won't be doing too much more leg work after this, but you'll see why it's very helpful to do this. And that's always usually where my considerations are. It's how do I make this, the technical focus of my training, such as maybe the handstand. How can I make it easier for the rest of my body? So, for example, using my legs in a locked out position, or having them in straddle, or having them in pike. Just helps to make everything feel a little bit more cohesive when you're trying to hold positions, contract positions, etc. And like I said, the focus for today is going to be entries, and it is important to understand and to have a bit of dexterity through our lower body, considering that's usually the part that we're trying to throw up or leverage upside down in order to get into our handstand position. So let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So what I mean by that, and we're going to start doing Vitruvians, touching our pinkies at the front and our index fingers overhead. So what I mean by our lower body being warmed up with those air squats is our hands and our shoulders are reasonably close to the ground, so they're going to feel a lot of the pushing force that we expose ourselves to in the handstand. However, our lower body, the part that just kind of flails up, it's useful to have, make sure that that's warm, make sure that I have some control through that part of my body so that, once I kick up, I can hold that position, I can maintain it, and I can, importantly, focus through pushing in my hands. Cool, so touching the bottom, going up to the top. Just going to start a timer on my phone. Cool, I know where I'm at. All right, we're going to go into inchworm, favorite of mine, and it's a bit cold these mornings, so it's very useful. Going to bounce 3 times to our lowest position. So it's quite cold, and I'm trying to make sure that I tailor this to all levels. So, bounce to wherever your level is 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Walk your hands out in front. Your shoulders should be up near your ears so that we're practicing our pushing and getting that introduced. Driving my knuckles into the floor, tucking my tailbone, and then walking my feet to my hands. We're going to probably do about 10 reps of this, so if you're aware of how to do inchworms, you don't need visual cues or audible cues, then you may proceed with your 10 reps. I'd like not for you to rush them. Take your time. I've done quite a few variations of handstand classes with different teachers, catering to small groups, catering to larger groups. Most have their own sort of style and way of teaching it. I really prefer not to be a bit too dogmatic or drill sergeant-y about it, though many can argue, will argue, and have reason to argue that this kind of approach can be the most successful to the people that are that disciplined and want to achieve it in a fairly quick window of time. But I train a lot of different things, so the handstand sort of is a supplementary strength skill for me. Or I heard a few days ago, a very good analogy for it. It's a lateral skill strength. So training the handstand often unlocks a lot of different strength skills that you may not be training specifically, but as a byproduct, you will gain either beginner or intermediate progressions of those skills simply by working with good form in your handstand practice. One of those being sort of like the tuck planche that seems to come fairly commonly for people that have worked on handstands for a few months. Cool. I might cut myself a bit short on my 10 reps, but hopefully you've been able to knock out your reps quite good. Tucking our tailbone, pressing tall with our shoulders. We're not sitting back. You need to really try and ingrain that particular part of the exercise, that you're pushing tall through your hands. Cool. And then walking your feet back. Keep going with yours. I'm just going to pop this shirt off. Cool.
Music.
Oh, yeah.
Leave your hat on. If you know that sort of like, damn it, what's that movie called? Where they no, it's where they kind of strip.
Not True Lies. Okay.
It's a bunch of normal guys strip for money.
Next one we're going to do hip hinge, so a little bit less intense. Feet facing forward, we're going to hinge at the hips here, hold onto our elbows and pulse down towards the floor. And if you can try and match your breathing, so your exhale as you go towards the floor, sort of trying to empty the pit in your belly so that you can go further forward and get about 30 to 40 big pulses in this. Cool, and we're going to hold for a few seconds on the last strap in the middle. Maybe just rock your hip bones from side to side. Wander your hands over to your left side. You can grab your foot if you like, pull yourself closer, do a little bounce. Walk your hands over to the right side. Pull yourself close. Give yourself a bit of a stretch back to the middle. Okay, come up using your hips and then walk your feet.
Us, Marie.
Say again, sorry?
Marie can't stay.
Okay.
She did a bit, but...
That's a lot of squats. 20 squats. Oh, I suppose 40 altogether. Squat now, and then you put your feet up. Yeah, that's it. Oh, you needed to wake up. Well, I'm happy that the squats woke you up. Cool. All right, guys, let's get started on our wrist drills. So, as I said, you can definitely be doing your wrist drills before the class. We'll always do some in the class, but wrists are something, as joints are, excuse me, they acquire strength over time and volume, but not through intensity. You can always increase the intensity. So I can increase the intensity by doing my palm raises or first knuckle raises with my feet off the ground. But to get to that point, it's been sort of, somewhere between months and years that I've been doing it on my knees. Cool, doing our palm raises, probably about 30 reps of these. For those that are a bit more advanced, making sure that you're pushing through your shoulders, leaning forward into your hands to try and get a stretch here. So I'm not sitting back and doing my palm raises back here. Sitting forward, pressing through. Good. And then extra points if you can rotate your elbows forward and do this and lean into your hands. And it's a much different game doing it that way. But yeah, building up that strength and ability in our forearms. Cool. We're going to go to the side, turn our hands outwards, draw circles here. Circles one way, circles the other. Cool. Cool. We're going to go to the back of our hand, fin push-ups. You can progress in the fin push-ups by increasing your hand position, so going from hand flat to monkey paw to closed grip to hidden thumb and to full fist. So you can challenge yourself today with wherever you're at. Do about 20 of these, again, pushing through the shoulders, attempting to lock the arms out, drive the elbows forward. And it's about volume and consistency, not about intensity. And you should be trying to actively press using the back of your hands here, not sort of sitting back on your knees. Okay? But make it challenging so that it's uncomfortable and you can feel yourself challenged, but never to the point where there's pain. Yeah, it's always a clear delineation between that. We aim for uncomfortable so that we cause stress, and the stress results in our body adapting, but not through pain. Cool. Last one we'll do. Reverse first knuckle or palm raises. So I'll go to the side for this position. Fingers facing back towards me. Press my hands flat into the ground, full surface area coverage, and then I'm going to break at the elbow. I keep my knuckles pressed in. Try and get my elbow towards my thigh. Press forward and straighten my arm. We'll do that for about 15 to 20 reps. These ones might be super uncomfortable and you might be very limited in your range. That's okay. Even if it's just little breaks like that, push out and extend forward, okay? It's not really about the range. The range develops over time. But
yeah,
certainly,
I just remember when I first started and I could still can't, but hardly lift off my fingers.
That's right. Everyone starts differently, and Steph made an awesome point the other day. Comparison is the thief of joy. You are at your own stage. Everyone starts at a different point.
Plus, some people might have just just flexibility in certain areas.
Yeah, that's it.
I know someone that can literally bend their fingers all the way back to their hand.
So
but
anatomically,
they
they're double jointed. It might just be something, on a physiological level, and that's fine too,
But that's a good saying.
That's why it's like your practice is what you're doing for yourself. All right, cool. We're going to do some warm-up exercises with the band, so to get our shoulders a little bit stronger today. So we're going to do flies, but I want the fly to be in protraction. Excuse me, here like this. So I let the band pull my shoulders back. I get a nice stretch when the band comes back, and then I shoot forward. Big push with the band. I'm going to do about 10 to 20 of these. Three, two, one. Cool. I'm going to walk our hands only in a little bit more, depending on your shoulder flexibility. And we're going to do dislocates now. So we press forward, up, behind, around, and over the body. Okay, if you feel like the first rep was very easy, make it a little bit more challenging. Walk your hands in, up, over, out, around the body. Do this about 20 times. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Hello, Leah. Welcome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. So from here, we're going to do retractions or band pull-aparts. I'm going to try and keep my arms locked. By that, I'm pushing away, and you can see that my tricep activates here. I'm going to try and keep my arms straight, pull the band in, squeeze my shoulder blades. Do 20 quick reps of this. You can allow the band to bounce. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Band up above. Your shoulders should be screaming at you right now. That's okay. That's the point of this. It's almost over. We're going to do depression now. So you can see that the band pulls my shoulders up into this elevation here. I'm going to straight arm lockout, pull down to the side, depress my shoulders, and then let the band shrug me back up. Kind of like actually I looked at this the other day, a wine bottle opener. So that should be a very familiar
Especially at this time.
Exactly, right? So it's kind of like the happy little wine bottle opener guy.
You should do the face as well. Just,
Yeah, do that. 20 reps of this. Keep your arms straight and locked out. No bend in the biceps. Actively pushing out to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool.
Just turn every exercise into like, eating food,
Yeah.
and opening food.
So this is the wine bottle grab. This is the wine bottle twist.
Good drinking one.
Let's not get too distracted by it. All right, cool. We're going to do scapular push-ups. Not too many, just maybe 10. I'm going to demonstrate something that's really helped me in this as well. Is that same with the wrists. I try to avoid always doing things with too much intensity and try to work on detail. So today I'm going to have my knees fairly close and forward. I'm going to try and keep my hands underneath my shoulders as much as possible. I'm not going to try and elevate my shoulders. I'm simply going to try and retract. I'm going to pinch here, and I'm going to try and lock out my arm. Okay, so my arm's locked out here. So what tends to happen is when people are in a more advanced position like this, they break a little bit and shoot their head forward. Okay? We're not looking to shoot our head forward. We are actually trying to pinch our shoulder blades backwards. So simply by moving our legs a little bit closer, okay, notice that my head's not crooning forward to try and increase distance because my head position is actually quite irrelevant. And then we push through the cat-cow position all the way through our shoulders. And my tricep here, still locked out, still aiming to turn my elbow forward in this position. So this part here, forward. You're going to do about 10 of these in your own time. Like I said, try to avoid crooning your head forward or cranking your head in any way. Be a little bit patient with it. Your position very likely will not be as will not have as much range as mine, but this is the way, same with the palm raises. This is how we get there. I lock out at the bottom, push, lock out at the top. Maybe 5 more. If you can squeeze your tailbones, tuck your ribs in so that your belly's working as well. Two and 1. Give your shoulders a little roll here. Cool, we're going to go to the tri-lat stretch. So this is the one where we have our fingertips pressing into each other. So press. Cool, I have my forearms against the wall and I'm looking to try and turn my elbows into the wall. And I'm in this position here. Again, I'm not shooting my head down to try and compensate extra range. Trying to keep my head neutral and open up my lats and my tricep here. So we're going to go over to the wall. Gary, you're going to either count or just start a timer for about 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Cool, so we're going to push our fingertips into the wall, maybe go down a little bit slightly. Take a few steps back.
All right, are you ready?
We're ready.
Is everyone ready at home? I can't hear you. That's because you're not here. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Cool. And so I'm trying to actively turn my elbows and armpits into the wall.
And this one, I'd like to call you leaning at the fridge, just looking inside, seeing what you can eat.
Brilliant.
Possibly.
Brilliant. Perfect analogy. Talking about food in the middle of the workout. Sacrilege. How dare you?
I'm sure, and that is time.
Cool. Cool.
I'm sure lots of people have had plenty of snacksidents.
Snacksidents, hey? Hopefully not. Cool. So last week in the handstand class, we looked at the lockout position and we repeated 9 rounds of that. If you haven't seen that, maybe go back and have a look, but I'll explain a little bit here. We're going to do 2 short holds of intense or the most pressure you can do in your handstand, because it's only going to be 30 seconds. By scaling it back a little bit away from the full 1 minute hold. 1 minute holds are very good for developing endurance, but right now I want us to work on the position a little bit more as well. So I want our hands to be somewhat in front of the body, so I don't want a collapsed thoracic spine. Last week we were able to do that by having ourselves on a box, which was really useful. We're going to go to the wall to do it today. So it's going to be a 30-second hold and then a 20-second rest, and then we're going to go back up for another 30-second hold. Like with any of the wall facing exercises, or sorry, chest to wall exercises or back to wall exercises, if your fatigue level gets to 80 to 90%, please walk down with enough energy to make sure you get all the way down. Worst thing you can do is develop a habit where you just hold on until you're at 95%, collapse off to one of the sides, possibly hit something, possibly injure yourself. Hi Natasha, thank you for joining. And potentially hindering the rest of the class. So always make sure that you have those energy reserves. All right, so we're going to go up to our wall hold for 30 seconds now. So I'm starting with my feet at the base of the wall, hands pressing in. I'm going to walk back confidently. It's very important that you really try and press through each of it. That's not sort of like a stagger in this position. I want it to develop strength, so you need to develop control here.
This part is, development.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. All right, Gary, if you can get a 30-second timer ready.
Yep. Yeah, it's all ready to go.
Okay.
And now I count you in once you're up.
Cool. 3, 2, 1.
And go.
Cool, so I'm actively pressing in this position, locking out my arms. And I want to hold this position as intensely as possible. My arms might be shaking a little bit. My fingers might be digging into the floor. My knuckles pressing down. I'm trying to hold the most intense position against the wall as possible so that we really drill that.
3, 2, 1.
Coming down carefully. Each hand, step and foot down. Done with intention. Cool. Now we've got a 20-second rest. And we're going to go back up into that. Cool. So as I was saying, it's important 2 things, that you are honest with your fatigue and your level so that you're not collapsing or falling or crumpling. Worst thing. Don't need to be playing with ego here. It's about learning, and everyone does this at your own pace. And it's going to just be way more successful. The other thing is, having confidence as you take these steps backwards and forwards up the wall, your intention goes into your hand so that you maintain control in this. So we're going to go up for our next 30-second hold. Cool, taking a step up. Each of my hand placements, I'm pushing with intention into the floor.
And let's
Good,
go.
30 seconds, I'm locking out here. I've got my head inside my shoulders. I've tucked my tailbone. It's just my toes against the wall. Looking between my hands, not at the wall. I want that visual feedback of the floor. Squeezing, I can feel my knuckles going white. My triceps shaking, my forearms shaking a little bit as well. Pressing,
3,
pressing.
2, 1.
Cool, 30 seconds over, walking down with confidence, down to the floor. Cool. So that was just about trying to reiterate that position of that lockout. The lockout and that sort of excessive contraction position isn't actually that imperative for the freestanding. But what it does is develop all that muscular and neurological control so that you have more time to develop balance in your hands, balance where the rest of your body is. Cool, so we have 3 drills. First drill we're going to do is a wall walk for 3 reps. So it's just going straight up the wall, back down again. I'll demonstrate quickly. Cool. Good. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Quickly. Walk back down. You're going to do that 3 reps. We're then going to take our band and we're going to do leg lever pulls. Oh, what have I roped you guys into today? Fun stuff. So we're going to put the band around our leg like such. Just watch for now, and then you guys can get started on your rounds once I've finished. I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to pull here. And I'm gently going to push my foot into the band, and then let it come back. Now, your position might be somewhere like this, and you might be going, oh, that's tight. Well, that's okay. That's where your position is. I want you sort of to increase the demand in this leg lever position about every 2 to 3 reps. Good. Okay, and you're going to do that for about 10 to 20 reps on each side, and then you're going to go back to the wall. So 3 wall walks, and then you're going to come back to the band leg lever pulls, and you're going to do 15 to 20 reps on each side. Cool. We take out the body line drill. That's okay. I think we're just getting we'll go a little bit too far. That's all. So if you just want to leave up A3, that would be fine, Gary.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So I'm going to demonstrate actually I'll go to the wall. I'll do 2 more wall walks, and then I'll come back to the band there. The wall walks you can do fairly quickly. Going up, pressing, locking out of that position, the one that we tried to replicate for that 30-second hold. Come back down. Maybe just relax your shoulders side to side. Take a step back up. Up to the top, press, and then come back down. Cool. Done our 3 reps of that. Going on to our leg lever pulls with the band. And just take out the 20-second body line drill. We'll take that one out. Excellent, thanks. So, using the band. Cool, I have it wrapped around my feet. Get in a nice comfy position. You can have your foot at extension or in flexion, I don't mind, as long as your leg is straight. And just playing with this stretching here. And it'll all make sense fairly soon. If you've completed this, please continue with your wall walks and then coming back to this. Try to get 3 to 4 rounds out. I'll obviously be going a little bit slower because I'll be communicating to people at home, but if you've managed to grasp quite comfortably the exercises that we're doing, then proceed at your own pace. Good. So about 20 on that side. Coming over to my other side. Cool. Try not to make the wall walks too intensive. We'll still be doing other handstand drills as well, but they're just there to start to warm us up. The most comfortable way to get, or the most successful way to get comfortable with handstands is practicing chest to wall, because you can control so much of the variables in it. You can control how high you go, you can walk yourself down, you're looking at the floor, whereas back facing, there's a lot more risk involved, especially for beginners. And yeah, typically chest to the wall drills will get us most of the success in the right position, as well as the right strength in that position. And then back to wall's kind of where we play with a lot of saving and catching and balance mechanics. So it's just a little bit of information for yourself. Cool. So I've done 20 there. Back to 3 wall walks. Like I said, if you've grasped the exercises that we're doing, please proceed with your own time. So going up, 3 reps of wall walks. Pressing nice and tall, looking between your hands, tucking your tailbone, walking your hands down nice and confidently and slowly. If you need to give your hands a little stretch in between the reps, that's fine. It's all a long process. You're not going to suddenly whiz bang your way into a 1-minute handstand in one day just because you went super hard on one particular exercise. The handstand practice is a very long journey. And if you treat it the right way, it can be very humbling as well. It's very cool. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of information out there. I like to take a more holistic approach. Like I said, the handstand is a lateral skill strength for me. It translates into a lot of different exercises. So that's where I like getting the most value out of it. If you have any questions, please pop them into the stream at the moment, since we're sort of just going through these reps nice and slowly. If I could just get you to put between 10 to 20 reps for the banded leg lever, that'd be great, Gary. Just because I feel like 10 reps, people will probably go a little bit light on this. And I'd love people get a lot more mobility and flexibility out of their handstand practice. And it'll make a lot of sense very soon why we're doing this. Cool. For those very flexible people that join us in the classes, maybe you're pole dancers, or you have pole experience or gymnastics experience, you can work with a very small range. Try and rotate your hips into each other. Good. Cool. Using the band, again, rotating my hips in, straightening my leg, pressing the band, allowing it to pull back. So there's this relationship between pushing that way and then allowing it to passively pull back 10. Cool. So hopefully you're on your maybe third round now. I'm working on with that. I'm going to grab a little drink. If you have any questions, please pop them into the chat. Cool. All right, you guys can grab a little drink, and I'm going to start talking about what our next exercise and work is going to be about. So, as I said at the start of the class, the kick up or the entry into our handstand position is probably something that we end up facing or using in nearly every single handstand drill. But it's quite overlooked in terms of like, hey, if you get better at your entries, your success rate in free standing or even drills against the wall are going to improve significantly as well. Okay, so I have 4 levels in this class, so I've tried to tailor them to everybody's level, and I'll start at the very basic, the beginner A exercises, and then I'll go on to beginner 2. So we have beginner 1, beginner 2, we have intermediate, and then we have advanced. So it's going to be 4 groups. You're going to perform about 5 rounds of these. So the beginner rounds, you're looking to try and get as familiar with these exercises as you can. And when I go through them all, you can sort of see, it's like, oh, you know, that's something I can work on, or that's something that's going to be useful for me. We have beginner 2. People have done quite a few classes, but know that these are some of the things that they need to work on in order to improve. We then have intermediate, where we'll be exploring a little bit more of difficult positions. And certainly if you're beginner 2, you're more than welcome to have a look into these intermediate exercises and explore a few of them as well. But I want the crux of your work to be to make sure you complete all of the beginner 2 round exercises, same with beginner 1. And then advanced, you'll be completing the intermediate work as well as the advanced work. But what I'm asking is that you only proceed to the higher level if you're able to complete them all successfully. So in beginner 1, you're going to be doing 5 each side, and beginner 2, you're going to be doing sets and reps of 5. Okay, so it's very easy. In advanced, you're going to be doing, intermediate, you're going to be doing reps of 3, typically each side, or in the full position. And advanced, you're going to be doing what intermediate does with a few more exercises at reps of 3 as well. If you're unsuccessful, or if you fail any of the reps in the above category, you need to regress. You need to go back, because that needs your attention more, and that's where we can have our focus for today. So while you're having a drink and looking at what we're going to do, I'm going to start talking to you about it. So beginner A or beginner 1 group, we're going to work with chest to wall, and we're going to look at side bailouts. So bailout to each side, and you're going to do 5 reps on each side, and then you're going to do scissor negatives, okay, and you're going to do 5, so with either leg assisting in each of these. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate over here what I mean by a chest to wall bailout. So I'm going to start with my wall walk, walking up the wall, beginner group 1. I'm going to offer my leg out to the side, and I'm going to come down. That simple, okay? We're going to do that on each side. So if I'm repeating it on the opposite side now, using the wall walk to come up into my entry, find my nice position, lock out, leg off to the side, and I come down, okay? So that's going to be the first exercise of beginner group 1. Second exercise of beginner group 1, still doing chest to wall. I'm going to do my wall walk up, Oop, microphone ball thing just fell off. I'm going to walk my hands out, keep one foot against the wall, and I'm going to hop this leg down as slowly as I can. Cool. I'm then going to repeat that on the opposite leg. Put my... Oh, where's the microphone? There we go.
That's right. I turned it down.
Okay, cool. Cool, so I'm going to do this with the opposite leg. So I walk up to the wall walk. I walk forward slightly. My opposite leg comes down, and I use the wall to assist in my negative scissor there. So that is beginner group 1. Reason you're doing chest to wall is if your kick-ups are inconsistent and you also have some kind of fear there as well, at least with the chest to wall, you're still going to be able to practice the bailout and the scissor negative, but you're going to do it a lot safer. So that's for people that have fear about kicking up or need assistance kicking up. And I want you to try and work on that scissor, that descent, as controlled as possible. Beginner group 2. So people that have done classes before, we're going to be working on negative scissor reps and full to tuck descent negatives. So you're going to kick up against the wall. I'm going to demonstrate as such. Cool. One leg's going to come down, and you're going to try and fight as slowly as possible to get that down. So we're practicing our negative descent on that. Beginner group 2, you're going to do 5 reps of your negative scissor kick-ups, 5 on each side, 10 in total. And I want you to try and work on getting it as slow as possible. So we're still accumulating volume and strength in our handstand position, but we're also adding in extra details to it. So doing the negatives of the kick-up so that we get more consistent on our kick-up against the wall. Beginner group 2, your second exercise is going to be tuck entry negatives. So I'm going to kick up any way that I like. If you want to enter from a tuck position, that's fine too. Cool. Oh, forward a little bit. Cool. Full lockout. Bring my knees down. Roll down. Slow tuck there. You're probably not going to have it that slow as what I'm demonstrating here, but I want you to try and fight for that, okay? By doing it slowly, we develop the skill and the control and the strength, because that's what we want. We don't want to be just trying to hit and miss these entries over and over. So that is beginner group 1 and beginner group 2. You'll be working for reps of about 5. Unless it's the tuck, you can just perform 5 of those. Cool, so you may start with that. Intermediate, we're going to be working on straddle. So you're going to work on your straddle as well as your scissor kick up. So you're going to do beginner group 2, your scissor negatives on each side. You're then going to do your straddle negative. You're going to do your full to straddle, and you're going to do puppy. So I'm going to demonstrate the 3 while talking to you now. Cool. So straddle, legs out to the side, bum touches the wall, that's fine. Come down, nice and controlled. You're going to do 3 of those. Then we're going to do full entry to full straddle negative. So starting with my legs out wide, up to the top to full, from full down, straddle, down to the floor. Okay, so you have straddle, legs staying out to the side, coming up to the wall, and they stay in straddle. 3 reps of that. We're then going to go straddle entry up into full, and then from full all the way down to the floor. So you have 3 reps of that, and then you're going to have puppy press negatives. So it's similar to the bailout, but you're going to do this controlled, and you're going to have 3 reps each side. So I'm going to show you the puppy press negative. Cool. Enter in any way that you like. So maybe perhaps scissor kick up, legs out to straddle, and then out to the side, control and come down. If I'm doing it on the opposite side, I'm going to show you now. the puppy press negative. So I might enter in the handstand into a full tuck, legs out into straddle, going down, getting that leg to touch as slowly as possible. So working a little bit with side flexion there. So that's the intermediate people. Intermediate people, if you complete all those reps, including the scissor kick-ups with full consistency, then we're going to work on the two other ones as well, which is pike, so coming down legs together, and we're also going to do straddle press negative. So I'll show you what I mean by the pike. Cool. So any entry that you like, perhaps we're going to go straddle to full, up to the top, pike, all the way down to the bottom, fighting that as much as possible. So now you're starting to see why doing all those hamstring, leg, core exercises were working really well. Hi Darren, nice to see you. Cool. For our straddle press negative, we're going to try and go down as slow as possible using the wall against our back. So this is for the advanced group, if you were able to complete the scissor kick-ups and the intermediate group work. So we're going to push our back into the wall and control our descent until our hands come down and touch our fingers. So up to the top, come down, rolling down, nice and slow. So in the straddle press negative, it's a little bit more narrow. You want your feet to come down towards your hands, and you may use your back in the wall to slow that negative down. So if you're in the beginner groups, you may start with your work. We've got 5 rounds of this. In between the rest period, you can just do some nice shoulder stretching, grab a drink of water, elevate your shoulders, press your chest to the floor. Nice big stretching. Cool. Okay, I'm going to go through beginner 1 material, beginner 2, intermediate and advanced again, so people have that information. But if you know where you're at and where you're working with, please proceed and go forward. So if I'm doing beginner group 1, chest facing, that way I'm building confidence with the wall, and we're doing side bail outs as controlled as we can, 5 reps each side. Cool, so I'm doing my wall walk up the wall, nice and carefully. I'm going to hold my lockout for a little second here, offer my leg down to the side, and come out. It's almost like a cartwheel exit, you know, so there's going to be such a lateral transfer of strength here where it comes to cartwheeling and coming to bailing out of things as well. So that's our bailout. We then have our wall-assisted scissor negative or kick-up negative. So I do my wall walk, walk close to the wall, choose the leg that I'm working with, walk my hands out, 1 foot against the wall, and try and bring that down as slow as possible. So using my chest to the wall so I can see the ground, I can control my body going down. So for those 5 each side of the bailouts and 5 each leg of which leg has the foot against the wall and which one is coming down slowly towards the floor. So that's beginner group 1. Beginner group 2, we have scissor reps and tuck. So doing our kick up, cool. Nice and slow, scissor, slow, 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 down to the floor, giving you a little bit of a shake. Really fighting in that jackknife scissor position to try and get as much value out of it as possible. Switching to your other leg, so kicking up, pressing nice and tall, leg going down. Notice I've got my foot against the wall here, so I can still balance in this position and then control the descent as much as possible. Cool, so beginner group 2, you have 5 reps of the back to wall scissor negative, and then you have tuck negatives. And you can enter in the tuck if you like. You can enter with the kick up if you like. More than welcome. So for example, come your hand, I'd say for the tuck, move your hands a little bit further away from the wall. It's just because we have big booties. So cool. Press nice and tall. Drag our heels down the wall. Pull my knees into my stomach. And then down to the floor. And you can even hear the difference in my core and the way that I'm talking with my diaphragm, because I'm trying to compress as much as that as I can. Cool, so we're now on to the intermediate group. So we're just kicking up into straddle and then doing straddle back down, and you have 3 reps of this. So coming over to the wall, feet apart, boom, straddle position here, nice and wide, nice and slow descent there. The time that you spend against the wall, it's up to you. Just remember we're doing 5 rounds, so you should be accumulating a lot of volume in this, and the focus is the entries to the handstand, not working on the just building up endurance today. Cool, so that's the straddle position. Then we have straddle to full and the reverse negative down. So intermediate group, starting in straddle, jump up into full, hold here if you like, down to straddle, and back down again. So you have 3 reps of that either side. You can also do the tuck from beginner group 2 as well into the intermediates. And then we have puppy press reps, 3 each side. So trying to control this as much as possible. You can enter however you like. So if we just enter into straddle, cool. I can bring one leg in, I can keep my legs apart, whatever you like. Coming out to the side and trying to fight to hold that reps as much as possible. So we're going to the opposite side of our puppy press rep now. Straddle up to the top, bring my leg in, fighting, fighting, fighting. Maybe I save it, bring it back, and coming out. Cool, so that's intermediate group. Advanced group, you're doing all of that work, but you're also going to do pike negative, and you're going to have your back to the wall, and you're also going to have straddle press negative. So your back's going to be in the wall, and you try and get your toes down to your hands. So I'll quickly show you the pike. Like I said, if you've understood the information and the class, please proceed with your reps. You've got 5 rounds, okay? But I will cut us off towards the end of the session, probably in about 10 minutes. And yeah, so let me show you the straddle press negative. Cool, so this time my hands close to the wall. I'm going to jump, straddle full, come down, slow, 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 slow. All the way down to my hands here. Cool. So there should be work, and quite a bit of work for you to be doing in your group and category. Like I said, maybe about 5 rounds of this, so we'll keep going for about another 10 minutes or so. We're going to, in the rest periods, you can just do some preacher stretch. And just pressing your chest to the floor. Maybe you want to do a little bit of a wrist drill. And just walk your wrists around.
Leah says, should I still be striving to lock out, keep my
arms
straight when lying down?
So if we're looking at the work that we did last week, which was working with the focus of pressing lockout, and with the wall hold we did for 30 seconds, pressing and locking out, that is the ideal position. So we're trying to reinforce that and then move into other elements while that is still familiar to us. Pressing and locking out. So of course, at no point do we really want to be sitting back in our muscles at all. Everything should be pressing as hard as you can. So whether it's the straddle, I'm pressing tall, press, 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 even on the descent, press, 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 descent, 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 press, 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 whoosh, all the way down, always pressing. So you see how valuable it is when we're trying to do that. If we haven't practiced or ingrained or talked about, focus on that lockout. Focus on pressing. Of course, you're gonna fatigue, and that's fine. And it's good that you asked that. It's very likely you're starting to fatigue over these reps. The intention is there. In the same way that you build up a vocabulary, sometimes, you know, if you're learning a language or an instrument, you're gonna hit the wrong key, or you're gonna mispronounce something. That's fine, but as long as your brain knows what you're meant to be correcting, you're gonna have more success in your practice. So yeah, that's why in the last class we worked so much on that isolated lockout, and while in the wall hold we did a typically shorter, more intense lockout, so that we can drill that a little bit more. And also, it's just nice to vary it up a little bit between endurance holds of 1 minute, which you have to do, but it's nice to have something else to vary them with from time to time. So keep working on your drills. I'm going to grab a quick drink. I'll give you guys another maybe 3 minutes or so to complete whatever rounds you've got left. Hopefully while I'm talking to you, you're still able to practice and it's not too distracting. If it is too distracting, too bad. You've got to learn to deal with distractions in a handstand. Gary nods approvingly.
I was just thinking about how much I can distract you when I talk.
Oh, yeah, you can try. I think the way I'd distract myself is probably what would happen. Because, yeah, you sort of learn to block it out a little bit. And that's where some people talk about, you know, why they find handstands so valuable. It's because, like, oh, I can meditate there. I can, you know, and it certainly does. When you start and you get those really, you're getting your first holds. They almost feel like intense moments of like epiphany, because just like time, you feel like time stands still because you're standing still. It's a really surreal feeling. It's really cool. So for all you guys either working towards getting those freestanding little float holds, for those that are sort of building on the 20 seconds or 10 seconds and, you know, getting a little bit further each time, yeah, celebrate those. Applaud yourself. They're fun. They're interesting. They're cool, you know. But we got to always take into account the 80-20. 80% of the time we try and work, so that 20% of the time it's play. Cool. So I'll give you 1 more minute. I'm going to do 1 or 2 more as well. So if we're just looking at the pike one's a really interesting one, because it's quite dependent on our mobility and control. And I kind of went down fast there as well, but that's all right. It's all, you know, like I said with these things, we're accumulating volume or time in the handstand. And that's kind of the point, right? You need to accrue time in this practice. All right. I'm going to cut us off there. You have homework, as always. Your homework for today, 100 hollow body rocks in as few sets as possible. One thing about core work for handstand or hand balance, it is not the most essential. The most essential is strength in the shoulders against the wall, and then developing the neurological balance adaptation and mechanics. But it certainly helps, in the same way that stretching our legs for a little bit was really helpful. So, we don't have to have this dogmatic approach that, but in the same way that we practice our lockout, you're not going to be in the handstand gripping like a madman. You want to be in the handstand and sort of like playing around with balance, comfortably breathing, thinking. But we do these lockout exercises, these contraction exercises, so that our body naturally goes to these positions. So for the hollow body rocks, shoulders off the ground, covering your ears, feet off the ground, and rocking away. As I said last time, if you have any lower back injuries or concerns, you may regress into this position, or even just holding in this position if you're quite concerned about your lower back or anything like that. But for the people that who I've seen in most of the classes at the bodyweight gym, you're all pretty strong enough and safe enough to do the full 100 hollow body rocks. Cool. So thank you for joining. Please share and like if you enjoyed the class today. Like I said, the theme for today was, how do we develop a more consistent practice? Hey, get Macy and Dex out of there.
No, that's the studio mode. That's coming up.
Oh.
That's the ending screen. You're on the right.
I'm on the, okay, good. They're gonna.
No. You got your camera time.
Okay, still. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, sorry. What I was saying, how do we make our handstand more consistent, And certainly one thing that I always see when people are practicing at the parks or people are playing, the playtime with handstand, they're just drilling, kicking up and falling over, kicking up and falling over. So let's make that a little bit more consistent. And then, sweet, you can play. You can, be at the park and kids are on the playground and whoop, up into the handstand, whoop, down to the side, come out of it, It takes time though, okay? And reiterating a beautiful phrase that Steph said to us in one of the other classes, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't look at anybody else. Think about yourself. Think about how you can be better in your practice, how you can share, develop joy for other people, okay? And just enjoy the journey. It's a journey, okay? It's not going to come overnight. Cool. Thanks for your time, everybody, today. Hope you enjoyed it. Visit our Patreon page. If you can, donate or support us, because Matt is doing all of this through his own savings. He's, the quarantine and the pandemic affects us all, and I'm really inspire and admire him for doing this, and for the coaches coming on board, and for Gary being 7 days a week now coming in and doing this. But if you sort of you don't want to use the Patreon, just share, promote, tag the Bodyweight Gym, comment, give feedback. Yeah, really, all of those things are really valuable for us.
Yeah, the sharing, the liking, all of that is, it's truly helpful.
Yes, it is, It's like that sort of thing, like one like equals one more viral connection for our community, which is another string in the safety net that hopefully sees us through this time. Oh, how's that for journalism?
That is good. In regards to the Patreon, just want to give a big shout out. Sorry if I destroy some names here if I can't say them properly, but Anja Bartels, Ben, Ben Barthon Jones, Ben Thurbley, Brooke Hodgkinson, David Stokes, Ian Campbell, Jane, Lily, Rebecca, Spearland, damn it, Stephanie. Now, I'm sorry if I badgered any of those names. Thank you so much for being a part of our Patreon and supporting us. It just means a lot. That allows us to carry on. And we can obviously just creating awesome content.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a lot more coming up as well. I mean, we've got our general classes every morning, but then we've got more coming up as well, which will be advertised soon. So I think next week we have a couple of extra classes, one coming in from Russia as well. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Wow, that is
and
impressive.
Diving into maybe a bit more dietary health and things like that would be
Awesome. So you see, you know, how it's even the sharing and likes, if that safety net is there for us to get through this, you know, Matt's plans, the bodyweight gym community plans are to involve pretty much a very holistic approach, similar to, you know, the class today, to look after you guys and share as much as we can.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm out of here. Have a great Friday. Is that what day it is today?
It is, yes. Those
I always
sort of
forget. I
merge,
never know what day it is.
kind of merges in a way. But yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining, guys. Let's put the ending stream thing on. There's Maisie with Dexter. Might have to get some ones of Corey and all of that on there. But thanks for joining, guys, and we will catch you next time.